The NFL is blowing it as it pertains to COVID policy. This is not going to surprise anyone, but the NFL has somehow managed to have a more restrictive COVID policy than they do a policy against sexual assault. And what they're doing is ultimately, I believe, creating a major issue because they're trying to distinguish between people who get COVID and are unvaccinated and people who get COVID and are vaccinated. And here's the deal. Everybody in the NFL, young and healthy, is unlikely to have significant issues from COVID, as we already know. In fact, most of them are either going to be asymptomatic or experience it as a mild cold. So why are you distinguishing between vaccinated COVID and unvaccinated COVID when in theory the impact is going to be the same, virtually non-existent? I believe the NFL should stop testing, period, and start treating this like the flu. If you feel sick, then go home and don't come to work. If you don't feel sick, then just keep coming to work. There's no reason for this. Playing football is far more dangerous than COVID. And what I'm wondering is whether some players in states like Florida and Texas could end up challenging the NFL's policy under existing state law, which is prohibiting employer mandates under state law. I think this is going to be a huge mess for the NFL. Speaking of huge messes for the NFL, how about Deshaun Watson showing up for Texans camp and almost no one in the media even pointing out, hey, wait a minute, this guy has 22 different sexual assault allegations pending in civil court, and yet he's showing up for camp, and now they're talking about trading him at the Houston Texans. I never want to hear ever again, for all time, the idea that there is some sort of issue here at all associated with unequal treatment. This is a conflict between two different identity groups. Which does the NFL value more? Black Lives Matter, aka the idea that black quarterbacks are victims as it pertains to the NFL, or Me Too? And the NFL is making a pretty clear statement. They're more afraid of COVID criticism than they are for sexual assault allegation criticism. This is wild because Trevor Bauer, one sexual assault allegation, he's out in Major League Baseball. Ezekiel Elliott, one sexual domestic violence allegation, isn't allowed to play for 6 games. Ben Roethlisberger, one sexual assault allegation, isn't allowed to play for 4 games. And Deshaun Watson has 22 sexual assault allegations, and the NFL is unwilling to do anything at all to him. It's just absolute insanity. The NFL cares more about COVID vaccines than they do about sexual assaults.